What's up, everybody? Triple Options back in the house, and it's NFL draft time. That's right. We are going to be dissecting, analyzing, giving our comparisons. Adam, resident NFL expert. Oops, got to go that way. Resident NFL expert is going to give his one player mock draft of where he thinks that former Florida State defensive end, 1 year wonder, Jermaine Johnson is going to go. This is going to be all Jermaine Johnson. The kid was an absolute phenom for Florida State in his 1 year. For a 5-win team, only being here 1 year, it is very strange to talk about how much like impact somebody could have, but Jermaine did. So this show is going to be dedicated to him. I'm going to break down his film, talk about comps, predictions, all that good stuff. Guys, before we get into the film, first, how rude. Say what's up to the people, Adam and Kev.
What up, people?
What up?
Perfect. Energy personified. All right, let's talk about it. What do we think of Jermaine Johnson as? Like, obviously, we know an outstanding college football player, everything on Florida State's defensive line for them this year. But what do we think about how he projects as an NFL player? Like, what are sort of some of his traits that are going to carry over well to the league, Adam?
I mean, I think you're talking length, strength, effort. He could be a scheme fit for the 3-4 or the 4-3. 4-3 with his hand in the dirt, 3-4 if you stand him up. He showed a lot. He was able to show a lot of those skills this year at Florida State. They stood him up and played him in the Fox role a little bit. They also let him put his hand down as a true pass rusher. He's not an elite athlete, and he's a little bit older at 24 going into the league.
Right.
That's a little bit older. It's closer to where guys are typically getting that second contract. So I think that might be a little bit of a knock against him, but he's a guy. Kevin and I were talking a little bit off air beforehand, and I don't want to steal his thunder, but he's a really high floor pass rusher, in my opinion. I'll let Kev expound upon that a little bit farther.
Kevin, expound away.
Yeah, so I'm gonna let the film kind of support my points here. So this is some highlights. I think what he does really well, probably what sets him apart as a pass rusher day one, is his ability to use hands. So you see here, he's got a good few first step, but that swipe really gets him by. His hand use is pretty advanced for someone coming straight out of college into the league, and I think that's kind of what contributes to that floor. That's usually something when you see high defensive end picks like Jadeveon Clowney, they've been able to just outpower or out athlete people. He's more of probably a lower ceiling than someone like that, but kind of has the tools that you want to be able to play day one and slot in as a rookie.
Yeah, he definitely more polished, right? A lot more versatile, a lot more moves, both positionally and just sort of with the different methods they use. He's not just a bull rush. He's not just a speed rush. I'm with you guys. I think it's, as far as like edge prospects go, he seems like he's a good bet. You almost want to say he's a safe pick, even though there's kind of a negative connotation that comes around that. But out of all the edge guys, I mean, I feel like with Jermaine Johnson, you know what you're getting the most out of him compared to like Michigan's Aiden Hutchinson, or like a really kind of not the polar opposite of Jermaine, but like a Kayvon Thibodeau, where it's like all athlete. Yeah. And then there are some of those question marks around the versatility of moves and kind of the strength and things like, God dang, that is disgusting.
Yeah. I mean, he was a guy that coming into the process here,
hammer.
He was obviously on the radar, but has found himself really rising up, the whole mock draft boards and all that nonsense. But up draft boards, with strong, postseason workouts. At the combine, he came in the pro day and put up good numbers for what he did do at the pro day. I think all he did was bench. He put up a good bench number. Teams are going to fall in love with him. I think it's a safe bet he's going to go in the first round. We'll see where, and I'll give my prediction at the end, and we're going to do a little player NFL comp for him and take a look at that too. But I think that those guys have higher ceilings, and that's why you're going to see them go before him.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a guy that's going to be happy. I mean, I tell you right now, I'd be freaking thrilled if the Eagles took him.
Oh yeah. I wonder if that's going to shade your prediction at all. Well, it is interesting because it was a guy that fringe first rounder for a while, and then he turned so many heads at the Senior Bowl that's when the talk of like top 20, top 15, some I've seen top 10 in some. So it's going to be interesting to see where he falls. Now, Adam, you talked about positional versatility, hand in the dirt, 2 feet. Where do you think he's better at either one of those? Like I wonder what sort of NFL team would be the best fit for him, because a lot of your success in the NFL falls on what team you get lucky enough to be drafted by.
Yeah, I mean, I think that he could play in either. I think he's best suited to play in a 4-3 with his hand in the dirt.
Okay.
Because, a big, long guy like that tends to give his chest up when he's standing up. So I think that that's something you would be concerned about. But obviously, they work on all that stuff. And when you're a freak athlete like he is, you're going to find a way to be successful. And he works hard. And that's an important thing that a lot of times gets lost when we're talking about success and busts in the draft. A lot of it's their effort and their mindset.
Right.
This is a dude that works his ass off no matter what. So if you tell him to go play defensive tackle, he's going to do whatever it takes to go play defensive tackle. So I think he could fit anywhere. I don't think he'd be a great fit like a wide 9 scheme. Like the 49ers, they like to set their pass rushers real wide and get them up the field. That's not his game. He's definitely built a little bit off that first step in power. So, like the Eagles, I think that the Seahawks, I think the Minnesota Vikings would be a good fit for him. And I'm looking at all teams there in that top 15-ish range. I think that all those teams would be a good fit for him.
My God, did he just annihilate Miami? Yeah, I agree that I think the character and the leader stuff, a lot of times, sometimes in the NFL draft, there's so much analysis put on that I feel like that character stuff is almost sometimes overblown, but it is very important. He's not going to be worrying about him grinding on butts and like Cleveland dive bars, Johnny football style. He's going to be a worker. He's going to be singularly locked in and focused. Kevin, what about like as far as like the one trait of his game that impresses you the most with Jermaine? Is it the versatility of moves? Is it like converting speed to power? What about him really jumps off and says, yes, this guy, he may not be the best edge in the draft, or maybe you think he is. I don't know. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but what's the one trait that he has that really says this guy is going to be a productive NFL player for a while?
So I think it really comes down to a kind of a point AB was making, which is I think he's a really intelligent player. It's something that's a little bit harder to quantify, but he's a guy that there's not a single Florida State fan that watched him this season that didn't have him jump out on the screen, and it's because he has a knack for making plays, and I think that comes down to a certain intelligence, a certain awareness on the field. I think this is a prime example of this. So this is in the Clemson game. He's at the top of the screen. So he gets kind of stagnated on a bull rush, but gets into the chest of the tackle, pulls him down. And instead of trying to get a big hit, what he does is he sees DJ Uwangalele rearing back for a pass.
Ooh, that was nice. That was nice, Kev. You nailed that pronunciation, brother.
And he gets his hand out, taps it away, picks up the fumble, and scores a touchdown. And that's just a big time play. I think you would see a lot of college guys instead of getting that one hand out, you would see them try to lunge for the quarterback or try to get the sack. But instead, I think he's a really intelligent player. He plays with his hands. So I think that's kind of where he stands out and why I think, he might be a safe pick, but a safe pick's not a bad pick. I think he's the kind of guy that's going to be around the ball making plays.
And I do like that. It's not the type of pass rusher, and you guys can all think of, I'm sure, a multitude of examples. They pick the move that they're going to do before the play, and it's like, okay, this is speed rush. They do speed rush. It doesn't work. Okay, I'll get him on the next one. Jermaine Johnson is a guy that if his first move isn't as effective, like on that Clemson play, he will switch to a different tactic mid play. And I think that really does scream his intelligence. And he's got the technique versatility to where, like I said, guys, like we're saying safe pick and all this, but this guy, any team that gets him is going to be extremely happy. So Adam, what do you think as far as this? It's player comp season, right? It's all about the comps. Who does Jermaine Johnson remind you of it from a current NFL player standpoint?
Yeah, Kevin and I were talking about it, and I've been doing a little research.
Ooh, of course you
Max
did.
Crosby is a guy that he kind of looks a lot like. Game similar. He plays for the Raiders. We pulled a little bit of his highlights from this year. We'll kind of let the film speak for itself, but you see a lot of the same traits. Good first step, powerful.
Number
Uh,
98 for the
Number
non-Raiders
98.
fans, right?
yeah, yes,
Yes,
correct.
this guy.
Oh, there you go. Oh, and he likes to shoot the invisible arrow. That's a fun celebration.
Yeah, he's at
So
the
not a
top here.
natural bender like elite athlete like a Brian Burns, just gonna run by you, but he's an explosive guy. You could do a lot of things with him. Obviously got some scheme versatility.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he's got the same kind of length that Jermaine has, and the same. You'll see the same thing with Jermaine. So he's at the bottom of the screen. He fights off the first block. He keeps moving, keeps those feet chugging. Eventually
Great
gets the
hands.
ball. Yeah,
Just
good hands.
always working the hands, which is key to being a great pass rusher.
Yeah, you could really see that as far as like the effort there. That was very Johnson-esque, like just anything that he can do to disrupt like timing, throwing lanes, things like that. The play's never over. Oh no, not my Dolphins, guys. Come on, what are we doing here? Should have cleared these highlights. Yeah, it is funny, dude. This is a good comp. Good research, Adam. They do look eerily similar as far as the way they play.
Yeah, and I think to give some impression, Crosby was a Pro Bowler this year, I believe, right? So
Yeah, I think it was the first one he's made too.
So this is his second or third year in the league. I think there's a very similar trajectory for Jermaine Johnson in the best kind of case scenario where you see 2-3 years down the road, there's really not that big of a learning curve for him to kind of go from where I think he's going to be a contributor day one to being someone here talking about being one of the, to kind of standing out on the field in a couple years. Whether or not he's going to be Pro Bowl caliber in a few years is up to be determined, but I think he has some of those intangibles that you see in Crosby here.
Yeah, is where he like slots in the league, like one of those, like maybe not mentioned in the same like rarefied air as like a TJ Watt or something like that, but maybe somebody like if you remember a guy named Everson Griffin for the Vikings or like a Jarrell Casey for the Titans, there's always like double-digit sack guys, some of the best in the league. For whatever reason, they were never mentioned at like the tippy top, but like clearly the best pass rushers on their team. I'm interested, Adam, as far as like his draft placement, because he is such a like a ready-made, like ready to contribute type prospect. Does a team that is looking to get over the hump into like playoff or Super Bowl contention, do they trade up for him? Do they reach for him a little early to where maybe Jermaine Johnson's the benefit of a team like we really just need a consistent pass rush, and that's like our last little like seasoning in the gumbo, and they go for Jermaine. So Adam Kuiper Jr. with a much more luxurious head of hair.
Of course.
Lay it on me, brother. Where is he going?
Yeah,
Give us your official.
I think this is going to be a wild draft. I love the draft. I think it's going to be wild. I think there's going to be tons of trades. I don't want to do the whole predict teams trading up and that kind of stuff. I've seen people mocking him as high as 9th to the Seahawks, and I think that fits. I think that fits a little bit of what you're talking about because there's some thought that Pete Carroll might be on his way out in the next couple of years. Takes a ready-made player right now and plugs him in a defensive end. I'm going to go with the Vikings. I think at number 12, he slots in well for the Vikings. They've got a need on the defensive line and a defensive end. Mike Zimmer's out. They've got an offensive-minded coach coming in. But it makes some sense. They've got a big need there. They need to, they need to continue to improve their defensive line. They're strong in the middle. They've got to get better on the edges. They've got to get guys that can get after the passer to get to Aaron Rodgers. My prediction is he's going to make it to 12, the Minnesota Vikings, and then he's going to come off the board.
Any teams that would fit Jermaine best from like a scheme standpoint, any defensive schemes, and I know I'm kind of throwing this on you, but any team defense that you see like, oh man, Jermaine would fit in nicely there. Any that like jump out at you?
Yeah,
besides the Eagles, because okay. Were you gonna say the Eagles?
Yeah, he fits.
Okay,
actually,
why?
He actually fits really well with the Eagles. Because they do a lot of 5-2 stuff, so I think he could slot inside and work as a 4-eye for the Eagles some. They could do some different things with him, some different games, and they could slot him as like a 7 tech also.
Do you think he's big enough to slot in as a 4-eye?
I think that they could do it some in
situationally
in specific packages. Yes, I think that they could do that with him.
Okay, that's
They
interesting.
went out and signed Hassan Reddick from the Panthers to come in and play as stand-up edge rusher. I think that you could slot him and Jermaine next to each other as like a 4-eye and put Reddick off the edge and do some twist games with those guys, do some fun stuff. But I do think he would fit well. They did a little bit with Josh Sweat this year, former Seminole, who's
Ooh, that would be fun. Have them two on the same team. Where did the Eagles pick? Where's their first pick at?
15. They pick a 15 and 19. Yeah, 15 and 19 or 15 and 18. I can't remember which one.
That's right there, Adam. I don't know. Are you a Jersey guy? Would Jermaine Johnson be Jersey?
Absolutely. Jermaine Johnson would have a jersey hanging on my wall immediately. Yes, 1000%. I wouldn't wear it because I don't wear other people's names on my back. But
I bet
yes.
you do. I bet you got like an old Jaworski jersey or something. Vinny Papali.
Hey, baby,
like some
you're
sort of
speaking my language
dork.
now.
I know. I have Philly friends. I understand how you people think. I actually do like Philadelphia fans. I'm one of the few non-Philadelphia fans.
You're not getting a battery thrown at your head.
No, dude. I rep the people. DeLisandro's cheesesteaks, Broccoli Rob.
DeLisandro, what?
Yeah, right. That's like the you. What do you like, Geno's and Pat's? You're a tourist or some shit?
Of course, yes, of course.
Okay, fake Philly fan.
I mean, he's from Delaware, so you know.
Listen, I probably had Scrapple way more times than you have. But
There's
that's
not a
neither
freaking
here nor
chance.
there.
I am. Look at me. I am Scrapple. Okay,
Scrapple.
Come on, big dog.
All right, let's move on.
Okay. Well, Adam is Scrapple. Kevin, what do you have? Are you a food item, or do you have any other things to add on what Adam said about his predictions for Jermaine Johnson?
Yeah, I would probably add that I think he's more of a 4-3 guy. I'd be hesitant to pick him if I was a 3-4 kind of guy, 3-4 kind of defense, just because those ends, those rush ins for the 3-4s tend to be more of the linebacker type, someone that's going to be asked a little bit more to be kind of drop back into coverage, and I don't think that's really his strength. But I mean, I think he's good enough, and like AB was saying earlier, I think he could work his way to being a contributor on a 3-4. I just don't think that would be his natural strength.
Okay, so this is what we think. Just a breakdown of what we think. We think 12 to 15 is the sweet spot as far as where he fits, teams he's getting drafted. Jermaine can play in multiple styles of defense. Obviously, we think that he'd be better for a team that puts the hand in the ground more. Strengths, intelligence, technique versatility, positional versatility, effort, motor, character. He's going to go, we're pretty damn confident he's going to go in the first round, and he's going to make Florida State proud, man. And it's going to be a nice celebration of when this kid gets drafted. He's going to earn every single cent. Yeah. He could have packed it in multiple times during this season, and he did not. And for a season that was objectively not great, there were still a lot of great times that came out. The Miami games, the North Carolina games, things like that. And they were all products of having Jermaine Johnson on the team. So Jermaine, we salute you. And we'll be watching on Thursday to hear your name get called. Hit us with a little chop. So let's get out of here. For the Scrapple man, Adam Brown, for the pork roll, Kevin Little. I am a delicious pork and broccoli Rob DeNick sandwich. And my name is Trey Rowland. We love you. We love Philly. Chopping it up. Never stop chopping. Go Jermaine. Chop, chop.